We'll move directly to Nigeria, where we'll talk about the food scarcity that has ravaged the country for a very long time. And this time around, we will also be looking at it from the perspective of the festive period, where many Nigerians are complaining about the rise in prices of goods and services, especially food. And to talk more about this topic, I'll be speaking with Kanyinsola Abajesude, who is an agricultural economist from Antalya. Hello, Kanyinsola.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. So, Kanyinsola, I'd just like us to start from, we're talking about this from an economic perspective. I'd like us to start from the very root of this all, the very cause of, the food insecurity, the food scarcity that we have in the country today. What do you think from an economic perspective are the main drivers of food scarcity in Nigeria today?
Okay, thank you very much, Mercy. Thank you for having me. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Kanyinsola Abajesude, and I am a graduate student here in Antalya, currently studying agricultural economics. So, like we all know, when we say scarcity is when there is availability of that item, but is not enough to go around. So when we say food scarcity in Nigeria, it is really a concerning situation in the sense that it's the according to the news, the percentage of inflation is like 38%, but in actual sense, the inflation rate is like times three, like 300%, if you look at it in actual sense, in the reality of things. So, if we are talking about the reason why there are food scarcity in Nigeria, one of it is a rising poverty level. Now, if you look at it, there is no like maybe upper class, middle class, and lower class. It's just more of like the 1% upper class and more than 70% or 80% in the lower class, which has made poverty level to rise due to the COVID-19, what happened in COVID 19. Then also, a lot of people are losing their jobs and a lot of unemployment. So, these have made poverty level to rise. And also, inflation, like I said, the inflation rate, according to the news, is like 38%, but in actual sense, is more than that. So, that has made food insecurity to be more rampant, and it has made like especially in this festive period, it's really a sad situation in the sense that a lot of people are hungry, a lot of people are like suffering for lack of food, malnutrition, and a lot of things, and it's really concerning. Another reason is insecurity. For example, where there are supposed to be like agricultural production, due to the insecurity in those areas, farmers are migrating from those areas, which is causing lack of food because of the insecurity that we have. Another one are also the economic policies. We have a lot of economic policies that are not favorable to smallholder farmers and even farmers at large. For example, maybe the lack of importing or lack of like a lot of policy issues, a lot of subsidy programs that have been scrapped off. It's affecting inflation. For example, there was inflation, subsidy was removed over fuel, and this has caused the price of food to increase like exorbitantly, and this has caused a lot of inflation to food prices because of food transportation and the like. So these are some of the issues, these are some of the causes of food insecurity in Nigeria currently.
All right, today, thank you very much, Kanyinsola. I think you talked about a lot of causes. You talked about, the economic side of it, which is the removal of, for example, fuel subsidy, which has, made everything become so expensive that people are complaining that they cannot even fend for themselves. much more, buying fuel to to get electricity. Now I want us to talk about natural disasters. For example, flooding, the flooding that has taken place in many parts of the country, and then climate change also in general. How do you think this has also impacted, the production of food and agricultural produces?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Climate change is not like is not only occurring in Nigeria, it's occurring globally, which is why it's part of the 20 it's part of the sustainable development goals. Climate change is really affecting Nigeria currently, especially it has is contributing to the food insecurity in Nigeria. For example, the 2022 flood that happened destroyed about over 300,000 hectares of farmland, which which has contributed significantly because there those farmers trying to produce and flood just destroy their produce, their farmland like that is going to affect the production. So flooding is one issue that is affecting Nigeria agricultural production. Another one is erratic rainfall. For example, now farmers are unable to really predict when there will be rain, which is going to affect their productivity. Because when you are normally when they know that okay, this period there will be rain, they'll be able to plan ahead. But because of the erratic rainfall, they can't really plan ahead, which is going to therefore affect their agricultural production and is going to contribute to food insecurity on the long run. Also, increased vulnerability of farmers. For example, when they are more vulnerable, especially smallholder farmers who contribute to like 70% of agricultural producers. They when they are more vulnerable to climate change events because they are not so knowledgeable, and even if they are knowledgeable about it, they don't have a lot of knowledge about how to control it or how to adapt or how to mitigate it. So which is going to therefore contribute to the food insecurity in Nigeria. So most especially flooding, it's really affecting, and also the unpredictability of rainfall. Thank you.
Thank you there. Now, do you think Nigeria as a country is investing enough in agricultural research and development? Because as far as we do understand, these are things that also contribute to, food scarcity, the food insecurity. Research is part of it, then development is part of it. Do you think Nigeria is doing enough and investing enough into agricultural research?
Thank you. I would say no, in the sense that currently the budget that was rolled out for agriculture, 2% was assigned to agriculture for 2025 budget. Only 2% was assigned for agriculture, which is a very, very, very low budget for agriculture. If you look at some development, agricultural development agencies in Nigeria, they are more like desert because, and this is due to the fact that they don't have funding. And because if they are not funded enough, how will they carry out research? We are complaining that, okay, there are low extension officers, there are low research and development. But if there is no funding, how would those agencies, how would they carry out their plans? And even if they are trying to carry out their plans, it's not going to go far as much as it should. So I think Nigeria as a country is not really investing in agriculture. They are more focusing on other sectors, and agriculture, which is like the spirit of the country, in the sense that it's like the background. When I mean background, like it's going to be like to source for the lifeline of the people, in the sense that when they eat well, they will be able to be more productive. But when agriculture is not being funded, it's going to affect the country. So Nigeria as a country is not doing well in investing in research and development. And when there is no research and development, especially in the area of technological innovations that can help smallholder farmers and also farmers at large to produce more. This is going to continue to influence food insecurity in the country, and it's going to continue to influence it's going to affect the life expectancy rate, in the sense that people will continue to die early, like what we experienced recently, the stampede and in the country. This is really a sad situation that is affecting the country currently, especially in the area of food insecurity.
All right, now let's talk about the role of middlemen and supply chains in the current food scarcity. What is the role of these? We know they're an important part of, the agricultural sector. What are their roles in this food scarcity that we're talking about?
Middlemen, middlemen in value chain of agricultural production, I would say they are causing more harm than good, because farmers, smallholder farmers, especially smallholder farmers those in the rural areas, they are the main role players in agriculture. And because they have low access to the market, middlemen come in, and instead of the middlemen to try to contribute to how there will be the development of the rural farmers, as well as them connecting them to the market. They are fighting for their pocket. Therefore, they bring about artificial inflation. For example, when middlemen try to see that, okay, maybe middlemen that are more experienced, they see that, okay, this thing is, maybe they see a change in the economic policy, they try to instigate food scarcity, in the sense that they try to maybe have to they hoard food commodities, they hoard it to themselves. Therefore, it now makes it look like, okay, their food is scarce. So these middlemen, they are doing more harm than good. Also, they are exploiting farmers. Like I said before, they are fighting for their pocket. Middlemen, they are fighting for their pocket. When farmers that are the main role players, when they sell their goods to them, agricultural produce to them at a low price, middlemen takes it to the to the urban areas, to the market, and sells it at exorbitant prices, therefore leaving rural farmers, who are the main role player, to eat crumbs, and they are the one eating most of the profit. Therefore, rural farmers, they will have to start looking for other funding to produce next. And if they don't get, they reduce their production or stop production completely. And this is affecting food scarcity in Nigeria as well.
All right, then. Now let's talk about global economic factors. Exchange rate. We talk about exchange rate, the international trade policies that are being put out by governments, international governments. What role do they have in this food scarcity, food security, food insecurity that we're talking about?
Nigeria as a country, we import more than we export. So therefore, this is definitely going to affect us, whether we like it or not. Now, currently, I think $1 to naira is around 1,600 naira, if I'm correct. And if you are trying to, as we are producing rice locally, but it is not like, maybe quality wise, or the number of produce is not enough to go around to the population. Therefore, we are still importing, whether we like it or not, even though the government is trying to scrap that, but we are still importing. And because of the rate of dollar to naira, currently a bag of rice is ranging around 85,000 naira to 90,000 naira thereabout. This is definitely going to affect food scarcity, because Nigeria as a country, we import a lot. We import everything. We import even up to matchstick. We import it. And if Nigeria as a country is not producing more, is not producing as we use, is going to therefore affect us. So the rate of global economic issue is going to affect us, because when we try to import, we have to import at the rate at which at the rate of our currency to the currency at which we are importing from. Therefore, it's going to make things unaffordable or super expensive for us to afford. So that's my say on that.
So, what are the immediate economic actions that can be taken to alleviate the food scarcity that we have currently in Nigeria?
Thank you so much. Like I said, there are a lot of food relief programs that can organizing food relief programs is going to help, but it should be done in a more organized way, in the sense that not like I'm not saying NGOs or religious organizations organizing food relief programs, they are doing well, but it should be done in a more organized way, in the sense that the recent stampede could have been avoided if there is a more organized structure for the programs. And it's really a sad situation, but it's something that could have been avoided. Also, in the sense that we should organize, like I said, organize food relief programs is going to help. Another one is price control mechanisms. A lot of people are putting the determination of price in their hands, which is not supposed to be. There should be a government control, price control mechanisms that whatever the rate at which is the produce is being sold in this place is the rate at which it should be sold in another place. So that should be that is one of the policies that can be put in place to alleviate the food scarcity. Another one is subsidized input. We can government and other uh, organizations, NGOs, or development organizations, or um, development countries that are trying to intervene in Nigerian agricultural sectors, they can try to work on subsidizing input. The input that farmers are going to use to produce, they can try to subsidize it. Maybe fertilizer, be it resistant seeds, be it technological innovations. They should subsidize it so that farmers will be able to adopt it and use it and produce more effectively. Also, emergency infrastructures, which there should be emergency infrastructure repairment like roads, access to markets, storage facilities. These are structures that can help agricultural production and help farmers to produce more. Also, we should promote local production. Even people, because the rate at which scarcity is in the urban areas is higher than it is in the rural area. This is because there is lower production in the urban area. So, and there are a lot of ways now that people in the urban areas can produce, even if it is vegetable for immediate consumption, even if it's just simple thing that they can produce, and there are ways that they can produce them. So doing those is going to help to alleviate food scarcity, and also strengthening extension services that extensionists can easily come to the aid of farmers when they need them. So these and many more, I think, that I didn't mention are going to help alleviate food scarcity in Nigeria.
Okay, all right there. Thank you very much, Kanyinsola, for sharing your time and your knowledge with us today. I think we've been able to learn a lot about how this issue itself can be alleviated and how we can do better going forward as a country. So thank you very much.
Thank you too. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So with that, we've come to the end of today's live show, and I do hope that you learned a thing or two from the program today. It is still me, your host, Mercy Bamgola, and this is Through Africa. To send us questions or suggestions, you can do so on our WhatsApp number, which is always on the screen, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, stay safe and goodbye.